Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Tonight, we're coming together to meet Hannah LeGris, your candidate for Lexington's 3rd District Council. This year, we are facing unprecedented and unique circumstances, namely as we battle the COVID-19 pandemic, which has affected our way to reach and connect with you, the voters. Hannah would have ordinarily met you at a coffee shop, at a parade, an event downtown, or canvassing in your neighborhood, because that's how it would have been in the campaign trail. Unfortunately, this year, that's not possible. So, in this case, we're bringing Hannah to you in the safest way possible, over the internet. Over the next 3 nights, you will hear about who Hannah is, why she wants to be your next representative for the 3rd District, and most importantly, why you should elect her. We will hear from friends, family members, colleagues, and local business owners as they paint an intimate portrait of Hannah LeGris, candidate on the debate stage.
I grew up on a farm in rural Kentucky in Mays Lick, and I learned several really important lessons during that formative time in my life. Number 1, I learned about the importance of relationships, about building relationships and maintaining them with people who think or live differently from you. And I learned the importance of the dialogue that results. Secondly, I learned to have a lasting appreciation of the natural world. And that's something that informs my platform when it comes to green space and the environment and our tree canopy. Third, I learned how to live at a different pace, a human pace, and to build contemplative time into my life. My parents instilled in me the importance of living out your values, connecting with people respectfully, and making sure that you're doing things that are in alignment with your community and your sense of self. These are lessons that inform the work I want to do as your city council person. I want to make sure that I'm listening in order to understand and to have dialogue. I want to make sure that we're protecting our natural environment and our green space within our city, and that we're appreciative of all of the assets of our city in the process. I want to make sure that I live at a pace so that I can walk in our city and bike and connect with our constituents consistently, and so that I can have conversation with them about our shared values and about what's important to all of Lexington.
Hannah's mom, Ann. Ann, why are you excited to support Hannah?
Well, I've known Hannah a long time, and I know she will do a great job for her district. She's a hard worker, and she cares about her community. So, go Hannah. I agree.
Go Mom!
Hi, I'm Ann LeGris, Hannah's mom. I just wanted to share a little story with you about when Hannah was a little kid. She has always worked really hard to achieve goals that she set for herself. And I know she would do the same for you as your 3rd District Council person. Anyway, Hannah was a really skinny, weak little kid. I know that sounds awful, but it's true. And she had damaged lungs because she was on a ventilator for 6 weeks when she was a baby. When she was about 7, she decided she'd had enough of that skinny little kid stuff and she was going to get strong. So we had an old swing set out in our backyard that had a little trapeze on it. And every day after school, Hannah would go out in the backyard and try to do a pull-up. At first, it was just enough that she could grab the bar. But after a couple weeks, she could actually do a pull-up. And she kept working on it every day. And in a couple more weeks, she could do 2 pull-ups, and then 5, and then 10. And eventually, she was a real strong little kid. And by the time she was in middle school, she was on the cross-country team, she was running track, and she played on the high school soccer team as well. And I think this just illustrates the kind of person Hannah is still today. she will work really hard on anything. And if you elect her as your 3rd District Council person, she will work really hard for you and she'll listen to your concerns. So I hope you'll vote for her because you'll be getting a really hard worker if she's your council person. Thanks.
Hello, everybody. My name is Taylor Delhagen. I am a professor of education and history methods up here in New York at the Relay Graduate School of Education. I live here in Brooklyn with my wife, Tiffany, who's also an educator, and my 2 sons, Rumi and Rivers. And I want to talk to you a little bit about Hannah LeGris. I've known Hannah for over 15 years, and while we now live in different parts of the country, me here in New York, her in Kentucky, I still hold her near and dear as a friend who I know will give me honesty and love no matter what turn I make. And a little bit about my relationship with Hannah. Hannah and I started working together in college on a group called Piece by Piece. It's a social justice working group, and it's her leadership that really stands out to me when I think about that time together. And in fact, it really continues to inspire me in education and in leading other teachers today for a variety of reasons. The first of which is authenticity. Hannah knows who she is, and she is hungry to be better with each step that she takes. I always remember also on the vein of authenticity, I always remember her speaking with like deep fondness and appreciation and beauty when she would think about and talk about her home in Kentucky as well. It's a place that was so important to her and really came out in her leadership steps as well. And the second thing I'm thinking about when I would think about her leadership on Piece by Piece was her effectiveness. Hannah would get things done. She was the person to get things done. She was always the one to go the extra mile to ensure that the logistics were in play and deadlines were met. I would have been off in way left field if it wasn't for Hannah to rein it in. But also she kept this optimism and a passion going that kept that effectiveness very much alive. And she did that with this spark of humanity, which really brought it all together. And then lastly, and this isn't lost on me, this is something that's super important, is the fact that she was always such a fierce listener. Hannah listens, really listens. And she has this way of making you feel heard and taken care of because she's actually doing both of those things. I adore Hannah. I adore her. And I would just, when I think about representation, especially today in 2020, I could only hope that one day here in Brooklyn, I could have a representative like Hannah is and hopefully will be for you. Thank you for your time, and thank you for letting me chat about Hannah.
Hi, my name's Maureen Sill. I'm a public librarian, and I have known Hannah LeGris for about 12 years. We worked together a lot in college. I actually remember the first day I met her, I went to a Piece by Piece meeting on the campus of the College of Worcester as a freshman, and Hannah was the president of the organization at the time. And I was really excited to hear about some of the social justice programming they did in the year before, and excited to get my hands dirty working with Hannah for social justice programs in Wayne County and around the Worcester area, as well as international efforts. I remember we did some really cool awareness events on campus to bring awareness to international injustices as well as local issues. I remember doing film screenings that were really interesting for the campus that had forums with different speakers to talk about different things that were going on in the Worcester community, as well as working to dismantle the coal plant on campus was another thing that they were pretty involved in. And I loved working with Hannah on those social justice initiatives, and I'm so happy she's running for this office, and she could not have more support from me. So thanks for doing what you're doing. This public librarian really appreciates it. Take care.
Hello, my name is Fox Thorpe. I'm a graduate student at UC Davis, and I've known Hannah in 3 different roles since we met. I met Hannah when I was an undergraduate student at the University of Kentucky. She was my honors program advisor, and in that role, she helped me navigate the waters of figuring my plans out post-graduation. She guided me through the process of figuring out what I wanted and what would be best for me. She was a calm, kind, and wise voice during a very confusing and stressful time for me. Next, we worked together when I was part of the Honors College Ambassador team, and in that role, she was always working to make everything better. She made sure the ambassadors had the right tools to serve the community. She was organizing trainings, and she organized an implicit bias training to help make sure that the ambassadors could make the college a better place for everyone. And while she was in this role, I know she was also taking classes at UK because she's always continually trying to improve herself. Finally, after graduation, I've come to know Hannah as a friend. I know she's someone who cares deeply about others. I know she's someone who cares about her community. I know that she's someone who is engaged with the community and is passionate about serving others. And she is in tune with and aware of how to generate positive change in any situation. She's someone who knows what it means to be a servant leader, and I know that she's someone who wants to make Lexington a better place for everyone. I strongly urge you to vote for Hannah LeGris for District 3 City Council. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Cailyn. Some of my first interactions with Hannah actually happened in the hallways of the Lewis Honors College. I had a friend that was taking a course that Hannah instructed, and my friend always had great things to say about the course and the classroom that Hannah led. And then I started to get more involved in the Lewis community, and I was going to activities that happened after the school day or after hours. And I always saw Hannah's face there. And so from that, I knew that she was always tapped in to what the students wanted and to what students needed. And then I got to a point in my college career where I was starting to question my long-term goals and aspirations, and I knew that Hannah was the person that I needed to talk to. And so I remember being like really nervous making this appointment, and I was like, I can't believe I don't have my stuff together. And then I remember walking to her office, and I felt as if this weight was just like lifted off of my shoulders, that all of my worries and concerns, that she was going to be able to address them and to challenge me in a way that made me think deeper and differently about who I was and what I wanted to do with my life. And then I remember we figured all that out, and I was seeing her again because she was helping me write my essays for graduate school applications. And I remember I handed her my essays, and she started to, mark them up and to like make suggestions. And then she stopped and she was like, I'm really sorry if this is too much, if this is really abrasive. And I said, absolutely not. Like, this is exactly what I needed. And I have never met anybody like Hannah that has pushed me to think differently, that has challenged me to enter different spaces. And so I think that's what's really wonderful about Hannah as she's running for this office, is that she's able to bring a different perspective to really get the best out of people. And I'm so happy, and I'm so mad I can't vote in Lexington, but I 100% support Hannah, and I hope she's able to push somebody else and to challenge them as well.
I grew up on a farm in rural Kentucky, and my dad is a conservationist. My parents have a background in farming. We talk constantly about how responsible stewardship of our natural resources is critical to living happier, healthier lives. In college, I worked as a student activist for environmental initiatives for 4 straight years. And I've also worked in the nonprofit sector in environmental sustainability work. Parks and green spaces of all sizes are important for neighborhood cohesion and the character of our community. I will work hard to protect, maintain, and enhance our urban canopy. I'll make partnerships with local groups to make sure that we have the money, the support, and the resources for our green spaces throughout the 3rd District and all of Lexington. I believe that maintaining the urban service boundary is the best way to protect the surrounding landscape and to preserve Lexington's unique beauty. I pledge that I will use my position on council to advocate for sustainable practices in our city, including improved recycling capacity, carbon neutrality, bike ped initiatives, and our treescape protection and enhancement.
But I have the really, gee whiz, I may get emotional here because when I introduced Debra Hensley, I really, really go back a long ways to when I first even thought about running for a political office. And Debra and Ernesto Scorsoni were there to help me. And it meant all the difference in the world. And that's why Debra Hensley being here tonight means all the difference in the world. This is the woman who really owns the 3rd District, our 3rd District council member from a little while back, Debra Hensley.
Well, this is not about me, and I'm going to keep this pretty short. But I will tell you that when I was running many years ago, and some of you weren't born, some of you were in preschool, some of you had more hair and more color. What I loved about this district is that it is so diverse. And I know it's changed a little. They've done some changes of different precincts and locations. Extremely diverse. And I remember I could throw a rock on one side and it seemed like it would be the most unique housing stock in the entire community, beautiful, historic, expensive, and turn around and look at some of the most impoverished areas of our community at that time, Davis Bottom, Irish Town. And I would say to you, go to the least who will feel represented first. And it served me well. And what I've learned about Hannah in the time that I've known her is that fits right in. She reminds me of myself in a lot of ways. Not that that's the reason why I strongly jumped on board. One of the first things I said is I wanted this woman to run for this position. I was 32, going on 33. I think we're similar age. Oh, I shouldn't have told the age. But what I think is really neat, you can do a lot when you're on the city council. It's really about how do you connect with people? How do you find ways to lift the important agenda that's so to our community, whether it's affordable housing or what are we going to do about climate change? There's so much you can do, and then beyond that, you meet the most wonderful people on earth, and they will give you the strength that you need in the most difficult times. But one thing I know about you is that you've got a lot of strength. I've talked to the students. I've also been a speaker in some of their classes. And this woman is the best listener of anyone I think I've ever run into, and that will really serve her well in this position. I'm gonna let Hannah tell you more about herself, but I'm gonna tell you, honey, early to bed, early rise, work like hell and advertise.
Hi, I'm Debra Hensley. I used to be on the city council many, many years ago. Probably some of you weren't even born. But I've always had an interest in my representative of the 3rd District. And I'm reaching out to you today to express my support for Hannah LeGris, who's running for the 3rd District Council. And she is just an amazing human being. I got to meet her in her role as an educator working in the service learning areas at the University of Kentucky, helping students engage with our community in really very deep and meaningful ways. And when I met her under those circumstances a couple different times, well, let me just ask you, have you ever had one of those moments where it's like a wow moment? And that's what it was with me when I observed Hannah in action, encouraging and listening intently from her students and learning from them and applying so much of this in our own community. I recognized that she already really understood a lot about our community and is always willing and learning to listen to more and to learn more. You know, the word we've heard a lot lately I'm kind of tired of hearing it, frankly, is unprecedented. And what is going to be happening in our community, like all communities across the world, are major, important decisions that are driven by fear and the lack of funding and the lack of the shortfalls of funds that a community needs to be vibrant, to take care of its people, and just to do the basic things as well. And so to me, Hannah sitting in the 3rd District chair, listening to us, being the voice for us, and bringing us to the table with her is very, very important. I want someone that I know that I can trust, that's as honest as the day is long, that has the intellectual capacity to understand all the financial implications, but also has the pulse of those who are least heard in our community as well. So share with me your thoughts, and please reach out to Hannah from her website and read about her position and several positions that she has in the community and that she's learned from you, and recognize that as we go forward, we've got to have representatives that we know not only are going to work very hard, but they're going to listen intently, they're going to be humble, they're going to be people-centric, and you know, frankly, we've had some excellent representatives that have done that. I wouldn't put myself in there as much as I would, you know, the most recent representatives. And so I strongly encourage you to vote for her, recognize that she's there and will be there to represent us in deep and meaningful ways and bring us along with each and every decision that's going to be made. So I encourage you to reach out to Hannah LeGris. She should be our next 3rd District Council member. Thank you.